This article is for the Chinese people, not for the Chinese Communist Party. Of course, the CCP has nearly 90 million members. They are all Chinese, and they are also part of the target audience. I just hope not to misunderstand that this article is specially written for the CCP. Napoleon, and all the empire builders before and after him, are dead, even with the advent of the head-changing technique for prolonging one's life. There is no longer any country in the world today that can build an empire with a handful of core leaders paired with hundreds or thousands of loyalists. Simply and make sure to say, that era, that kind of historical conditions have passed, and will never come again. Or some people say, isn't the United States an empire now? With 4% of the world's population, taking up 25% of the world's resources, and fanning the flames everywhere, and reaching out to every region of the globe. These phenomena are true. However, there is one important point that cannot be missed. The United States has no Napoleon, nor had it in past, nor will it ever have one in the future. The reason is simple. The power and influence within the United States is so scattered that when they are dispersed, so that the Napoleons will be crushed as soon as they appear, even if these brave men are holding up the banner of the American dream, reviving the great America, and the America #1. The United States is a hegemony, but it does not rely on the spirit of Napoleon. The spirit of Napoleon is the French dream and the revival of France. To understand the essence of the formation of hegemony in the United States, we cannot understand it in the slogans of American politicians, whether they call Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. The question to be asked should be, what kind of people's attitude and social mechanism is adopted in a society of hundreds of millions of people? And its power and influence are so dispersed and no one is afraid of anyone, leading to its ability to form and maintain the hegemony. Putting aside the question of whether American hegemony is good or bad, and whether it is good or bad for the world, it proves one thing: there is no need for Napoleonic heroes, there is no need to put leaders on the guillotine, and a country can take over the world, maintain its position, and give confidence to its citizens. Although China's per capita income is not yet rich, but the overall economy has been the world's second largest. Although China's population pressure the world's first, but assuming that the average human's intelligence quotient is 100, China's total IQ is also the first in the world. Whether China will have the face to stand on or even become a world leader in the future, the key depends on whether it can exert the potential of the world's largest total IQ through attitude and mechanism, not on whether there are men as Napoleon or how many people are like Napoleon. Therefore, the ultimate fate of all the internal and external pressures China is facing now can be summed up in a question: whether the Chinese people have a corresponding attitude, and whether those in power have the insight and breadth of mind to set up corresponding mechanisms, so that can enable the world's second largest economy, and the world's top 1 total IQ, into productive force, self-confidence, and modern civilization. The suspense is not whether there is Napoleon, but whether Chinese realize that Napoleon's world has passed. Paradoxically, the Napoleon's world had disappeared only 200 years ago, but the 4,000 years ago historical lesson of Dayu's flood control still exists, which was only recently confirmed by the archaeology team of Peking University. Water can only be guided, can't not be blocked. Napoleon has not become an object of learning. However, Dayu cannot but become an object of learning. In a world where information is flattened at high speed, science and technology is flipped every 3 years, and the value of the youth generation is flipped every 5 years, the phrase "people's opinion is like water" has become a reality from a metaphor. It could be blocked for a while, and not could be blocked for a decade. What China urgently needs is water conservancy experts, not water blocking experts. However, what we see is that there are fewer and fewer water conservancy experts, but more and more water blocking experts. What is even more shocking is that as the levees are being built higher and higher, more and more people think that the conditions of Napoleon's times were still present. The world is no longer the same. American-style hegemony is declining. The world is looking forward to a Dayu style of great power. the world is most afraid of is someone revival of another Napoleonic power, here also including Russia. As mentioned above, even if the American hegemony is in decline, it is impossible for the Napoleon to appear in the process. Just as there was no Napoleon in the decline of British hegemony. But what about Russia under pressure? How about China under pressure? The people in the world is unsure about it. This unsure mind, like other people's opinion, it can only be guided, can't not be blocked. China wants to stand up in the world, and stand firm for hundreds of years. The most contrary formula to this goal is a bunch of Napoleons on upper level, and a bunch of Boxer rebellion on bottom level. The reason is worth pondering over by all Chinese people.